so-called pandemic.
The pandemic.
Yeah, and how it's being, and how it has been used to market creative.
And our governor wants to put
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We are live in New York City. Today is February 20th, 2024. So today is known as Day X. It's the so today's a protest in support of Julian Assange, who's being held at a prison in London. He's been held there for about 5 years now, and so today is the extradition appeal. They want to extradite him to the U.S. To face trial for publishing reports about the U.S. war crimes in Afghanistan and Iraq. So I'll just read you the press release for today's protest. Now there are protests happening all over the world in support of Assange, Julian Assange. So here the protest in New York City is being held in front of the UK consulate over on 2nd Avenue between East 48th and East 47th. Okay, so I'll just read this to you here. In London on February 20th and 21st, a mass Day X protest will take place each day at the UK High Court in support of Julian Assange. When the court determines Assange's fate at a public hearing, Day X is the final chance for Julian Assange to prevent his extradition to the United States. If extradited, Assange faces a sentence of 175 years for exposing war crimes committed by the United States in the Afghan and Iraq wars. It says Julian Assange is arguably the most significant journalist and publisher of our time. He is currently in his 5th year in the high security prison of Belmarsh, southeast London, for exposing accurate and damning accounts of U.S. war crimes. The protest is sponsored by NYC Free Assange, Assange Defense, Stand with Assange NY, Assange Countdown to Freedom, Code Pink.
Hello, everybody. We're about to get started. Thank you for your patience.
Socialist Action and UNAC.
Waiting for some of the speakers to arrive, but I guess they'll speak when they get here. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Chuck Zlatkin. I'm with NYC Free Assange. And I'll be functioning as the moderator for today. A little bit about how I got involved with this. I mean, I would say that I'm new to this issue because I got involved in 2019, but to some people that seems like a long time ago. Actually, what happened is I was listening to Randy Credico's show on WBAI, and he was doing programs about Julian Assange. So I figured at that point, well, I've got to find the New York group, you know, and work with them. But then Bernadette Evangelist and a few other people, we realized there wasn't a New York group, so we better start one. And that's what we did. And for years, every week we were out there in the streets, tabling and protesting for Assange. We did it in front of the UK consulate where we are today for a while. We did it in front of the New York Times. At that point, they had done nothing on behalf of Assange, and then we ended up inside Grand Central Terminal, and then we were hit with COVID like everybody else, which, you know, put somewhat of a stop to the outdoor activities, but we've been still, you know, active online, holding events, getting to people to speak out, and for whatever reason, you know, the people have been organizing a long time. You know, it always takes work to get something together to organize for a cause. But somehow for Julian Assange, it was really difficult. The narrative they had gotten out there about, you know, something being wrong with him or him not being a righteous individual or whatever was really, it worked. It took a long time to get people out there. Initially, you know, when we were out there for Assange, people would come up yelling and screaming at us, and they really didn't even know why. It was like all emotional reactions. They saw, you know, free Assange, and they went nuts. I knew that things were getting better because after a while, the middle finger that we were getting was then a thumbs up. You know, it was like I realized that we were making some kind of a progress. So, you know, we're out there and we're still optimistic. You know, I still believe this is going to be it. This is going to be the last time we're going to have to do it because they're going to free Julian Assange. You know, what an outrage that he is had to suffer what he's been doing. So, at this point, I'd like to introduce our first speaker of the day, and she's been with us before, and a real advocate for Julian Assange. She's a journalist, author, activist, executive editor of Black Agenda Report, the Black Agenda Report radio program. Let's hear it from Margaret Kimberly.
Good afternoon, and power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. The late Glenn Ford taught me to always begin remarks with those words. I want to thank the organizers, thank Chuck Zlatkin and others for once again bringing us all together and for inviting me to participate. I'm always ready to defend Julian Assange. I am a proud contributor of the book In Defense of Julian Assange, or books published. If you haven't read it, you should. And I think Chuck made reference to the initial negative reactions to any defense of Assange. And that's because of the war propaganda that was waged against him. We were told that Donald Trump won because of Julian Assange, that he was working with Russia, and they hacked the emails from the Democratic National Committee, none of which is true. Those materials were leaked to Julian Assange. There's ample evidence that that is the case. But in any case, what is so wonderful about the Democratic Party? It is Barack Obama, after all, who began the process of prosecuting whistleblowers using the Espionage Act. The Espionage Act goes back to the days of Woodrow Wilson, the Palmer raids. No one, no president it's great speaking in New York City. No president used the Espionage Act as much as Obama. If you combined all the presidents before him, none of them used the Espionage Act like Obama did. Now, they chose not to touch Assange, not to try to prosecute him, to allow him to languish in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, but Donald Trump decided to get him. And how did they get him? They interfered in the domestic activities of the nation of Ecuador. Ecuador had given him asylum, and that meant they needed a new government in Ecuador. So the Trump administration set out to do what the U.S. has done many times, to interfere in Ecuador's electoral politics and get different people in office who would give Assange up. Now, what are we told about Donald Trump? Well, we shouldn't be surprised, right? Because he's the worst president, and he's a fascist, and he's a dictator, and on and on and on. But he's not the president now. Joe Biden is the president now, allegedly better than Donald Trump, allegedly the person who's defending democracy and without whom we'll have fascism. But Biden, as in other ways, is following Donald Trump in prosecuting Julian Assange. So I ask again, are Democrats so much better? These efforts are bipartisan. War is bipartisan. Support for Israel is bipartisan. Support for continuing the war in Ukraine is bipartisan. And that is why they hate Julian Assange, because he reveals all of these things to us. They don't want us to know. And when I say they, I mean the state. I mean their friends in corporate media who at one point would work with Assange, but when they were told to stop and turn on him, that's exactly what they did. Now, he barely gets a mention, even as he's fighting against extradition to the U.S. And I want to say something else about Assange, just very briefly. He was never charged with rape. He was never charged. The Swedes never charged him. The U.S. and the U.K. told them not to move the case along, not to free him, not to drop the charges, to keep him from having freedom of movement. Because he tells us what they do. He tells us what governments do. The Wikileaks cables, that video footage from Iraq showing the murder of a journalist. And that makes the silence of journalists all the more disgraceful. That Reuters journalists were killed by the United States in Iraq, that there was video evidence, and now you can't pay so-called journalists enough money to tell us, to show any solidarity with one of their colleagues. They do what the state tells them to do. And that is why you hear so little about Assange now. And that's why it's so important for all of us to be here today, so that we don't allow him to be disappeared worse than he already has been, disappeared into Belmarsh prison. And I want to say what awaits him should the UK do. It's not clear what the U.S. wants, if they want him to just stay in jail forever or if they want to bring him here. But he would end up in the Eastern District of Virginia, where he was indicted. That is a hanging court. No one is acquitted. Everyone's convicted. And the penalties are harsh. The sentences are draconian. The U.S. has the most draconian sentences of any country in the world, by the way. Of course, it's the biggest jailer in the world. That's not surprising. So he cannot get a fair shake here. So we must mobilize to keep Julian Assange from being extradited to the U.S. and to free him from Belmarsh prison. He is a political prisoner. And all decent people who believe in peace, who believe in freedom of the press, who truly believe in democracy, must fight to free Julian Assange. free Julian Assange, and power to the people. Thank you.
Okay, let's hear it again from Margaret Kimberly. Who's been here with us before and does a great job and is a true advocate for Julian Assange. Also someone who's been here before with us, and he's back again. He's a writer and editor of Haiti Liberté, Kim Ives.
Thank you, Chuck. Well, we have come to the moment of truth for the champion of truth. Julian Assange, the most important journalist of our lifetime, now stands about to be put to death. That is what his wife has said. Stella has said he will die, not might die, he will die if his appeal is not granted. She has called his state extremely grave. And while the mainstream press froths and speculates about the death of the completely marginal politician Alexei Navalny in Russia, not a word is said about Julian Assange and the ordeal, the precariousness, the torture that he's been subjected to. Julian and Wikileaks first contacted us at Haiti Liberté in 2011. They said they wanted to give us 2,000 secret cables, secret State Department cables, that were part of the 250,000 secret cables that they had received in the WikiLeaks event known as Cablegate. We were very honored, very pleased to become one of their first journalistic partners. We had watched how they had given the cables to The Guardian, the New York Times, Der Spiegel, Le Monde. And those papers, those mainstream outlets, had done virtually nothing with them. Virtually nothing. So that's when they said, we have to go to the countries where these cables come from and have their press review it. And that's what we did. We partnered with The Nation magazine so that our articles would get more reach and would be more visible. And it ended up being one of the most successful, and I'm pleased to say one of the most effective series of articles done with the Cablegate documents. We did close to 60 articles in French and English on all manner of subjects. The WikiLeaks cables helped us prove how Washington tried to torpedo Haiti's Petrocaribe deal with Venezuela, how they blocked a minimum wage hike to $5 an hour, $5 a day, $5 a day, and they won $3 a day instead. How they rubber stamped and paid for an election they knew was flawed from the start. How they tried to block President Jean-Bertrand Aristide's return from exile for 7 years from South Africa. And how they tried to turn humanitarian relief after the 2010 earthquake into a quote-unquote gold rush, according to one U.S. ambassador. All these things, we can say, thanks to WikiLeaks, WikiLeaks helped change Haitian history by revealing the crimes, sabotage, corruption, and double dealing of the U.S. in Haiti. Truth. Undeniable evidence is the gift Julian Assange and WikiLeaks gave not only to Haiti, but to the world, to all humanity. And this is why he must be punished, silenced, tortured, even killed, unless we stop them. The empire is collapsing. Its bankruptcy and criminality are more evident with every passing day. WikiLeaks has played an historic role in contributing to this collapse and to Haiti's national liberation struggle, indeed to the planet's liberation from the grips of U.S. and European imperialism. The fate of press freedom is in our hands. We must free Julian Assange from the clutches of the U.S. Anglo-Axis, which holds and torments him in a jail cell for the crime of doing real journalism. Free Julian Assange. Long live WikiLeaks. Long live truth. Thank you.
Free Julian Assange! 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 Free Julian Assange!
Well, let's say thank you. You may not have heard him before, but now you know who he is. Let's hear it for Kim Ives. And thank you all for being here today. Our next person at the microphone is somebody who you all know, somebody that we appreciate her talents as an actress, or actor, I should say. What century am I in? And also her activism. And, yeah, she's a hero of mine. Let's welcome Susan Sarandon.
I'm not really a speaker, but I want to be here today because this is so important to me and my kids and their kids and this whole nation. The speakers before me have been so articulate and specific and have laid it out. There's nothing more to add to that. Julian Assange is being persecuted and prosecuted because he's telling the truth. It's that simple. It's an embarrassment. Challenges the narrative in many situations, and it's dangerous for us to know that the freedom of the press, and especially when you see how quiet the press is, who didn't have a problem publishing a lot of these revelations, and now they are completely silent. This tells me that we're in very sad shape in this country when you can't have freedom of the press. We see this in other situations, obviously in Palestine, what's happening right now, in terms of how people get their news, how they make their decisions in voting, how they make all their decisions, how they grow their prejudices, how they find their heroes. When you're getting a limited, very slanted view of what's going on in the world, it's impossible to make good decisions. And Julian isn't even a citizen of the United States. You know, where's Australia in all of this? But people are so afraid of challenging the status quo because it does cost, and we've seen how much it is costing him and his family. So I thank everyone for being here and for getting out the word and continuing to try to keep this in the press and trying to keep people aware of what's going on right now in court. Free Julian. Thank you.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange!
Julian Assange. Okay, well, let's hear it again for Susan Sarandon for coming here today and speaking. Our next speaker is a civil rights attorney who worked with WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, and Sarah Harrison, Margaret Kunstler.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here, although I wish it were under different circumstances. But I recognize a lot of faces and a lot of friends, and it's good to be here with you on this day. You know, this is a very, very difficult time for all of us and for the United States. And people in this country do not realize this. It's really a question here, not only about press rights, but about the rights to function in a society that is controlled in terms of its human rights abuses. The human rights abuses are not only controlled in the press, but they're also controlled in the courts. And right now, we're looking forward to Julian being extradited to the United States. And I can tell you, as a lawyer, what is going to happen here in terms of a trial that might take place and why it is such a dangerous situation. And the situation here is so dangerous. People do not understand. For example, if the government puts on a case against Julian Assange and says, Julian did this, and then he did this, and then he did this, and Julian wants to defend against any of these things, they will stop him and say, you can't do this because this violates secrecy. Now, how can that possibly happen? You wonder. But they can say whatever they want, right? And Julian comes back and tries to put on a defense, and they say, oh, no, that's a state secrecy privilege, and you're not allowed to introduce that, and we're not allowed, you won't hear about, if he wants to put on that, for example, that the CIA put up UC Global to listen to everything he said and interfere with all, and learn about everything he was going to do, and learn about his conferences with his attorneys. Well, he can't do that. Because, and I can tell you that we've already learned that, because we have a case here in the U.S. of journalists who were surveilled when they went in to visit Assange and knew, now we know because of different press releases, that everything that happened in the embassy while Julian was there was recorded. It not only was recorded, it was recorded both visually and orally, and also sent immediately to the U.S. We know this, but how do we prove this? Because any attempt to prove this runs into the state secrecy doctrine. So not only has secrecy destroyed the ability to reveal what Julian has wanted to reveal and punish him for revealing human rights abuses, but when we get into the courtroom, it's going to continue, and we are still not going to be able to put forward human rights abuses. So we really are in the midst of a terrible battle. It's a battle between the CIA and the suppression of truth of human rights abuses. It's across the board, and nobody seems to understand that if we can't reveal the abuses of the CIA, and it's not just the CIA. We say CIA because that's the definition of the agency. It's the name of the agency under which all of this occurs. It's not that it wouldn't occur without it, but in this country now, you can't have a police agency do that because the police agency might be subject to discovery. The CIA is protected. We figured out how to protect the CIA from any information, anything they do. And really, anything we have found out about the CIA, I mean, there's a long history of CIA activities and human rights abuses. And if we can't find out about it in real time, And we have to wait for history to reveal that the CIA was in fact responsible for the murder of scores of leaders of countries around the world, and putting up, I mean, we all are totally aware of the abuses that the CIA has committed over its existence. And again, it's not the CIA, it's what this government has done secretly all around the world to control the international image of itself. So we're really in trouble. And if Julian is not successful in quashing this extradition treaty, then we're going to have it here, and it's going to be much worse. So get ready. If we lose this battle, we've lost every battle. Thank you.
Thank you. Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange!
Now!
Free Julian Assange!
Now!
Free Julian Assange!
Now!
Okay, let's give another round of applause for Margaret Kunstler and thank her for being here today and all that she's doing for us and the movement. And then, so the truck behind me, the two trucks behind me that you can see that have been going around in the streets of Washington, D.C. and now here in New York City with the idea of and put together and organized by and ridden by Randy Credo. And Randy Credo, who you can hear him every Friday at 3 p.m. on WBAI, and is it Mondays at 10 a.m. on PRN? He's here to say a few words. Let's hear it from Randy Credo.
I'm not really here to say a few words. I just stopped by. I didn't come here to say a few words. I'm a man of few words. Scram! All right. Thank you all for coming in today, coming down. This is very important that we get as many people on the street as many days as possible, any way you can do it. You know, I have a podcast, a radio show, and I'm preaching to the choir. And we need not the choir to see it, but these people on the streets, the people in the cars, people that don't know about Julian Assange and the persecution. They need to know about it because I know I'm not reaching them at WBAI. They're not listening. So that's why I'm here today. That's why we've been driving from Washington Heights all the way to Battery Park City and back up and back down in front of this satellite state of the U.S. Consulate, the UK, which is nothing more than a satellite state of the U.S. That's it. It may as well be Puerto Rico here right now because they have no independence, and I don't expect them to do anything good in this case. We're not here to beg the UK for mercy and for justice for Julian Assange. It's they who should be begging for mercy from Julian Assange and for an apology to him and his family for what they've done to him for the past 12 years. They've done it at the behest of the U.S. They are not independent. They have a 500-year reign of terror on this planet, and it continues today. Anyone who thinks this represents some kind of democratic country and they're expecting the Magna Carta to shine through today and tomorrow, well, you live on a different planet because it doesn't. They do what we tell them to do. And we're asking them today to show some self-respect and a little bit of independence and say no to your masters in Washington and let Julian Assange free right away, compensate him, and let him return to his family. I can't follow that, man. I got applause. So anyway, everyone's been a great speaker today. You heard a lot. There's nothing else I can add to it. Only to get out on the streets as much as possible. whether you're passing out flyers, but be in people's faces. As Roger Waters said and John Pilger said, make noise. Make a lot of fucking noise from this point forward. It's really critical. Thank you, everybody.
Free Julian Assange. 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 Free Julian Assange.
Free Julian Assange. Free Julian Assange. Free Julian Assange. Free Julian Assange.
All right. Yes. Okay, everybody. What you want? You have to say something else?
I'd like to redo that.
The man with a few words. Anyway, let's hear it for Randy Credo and all that he's done for this movement for Julian Assange. Thank you. And speaking of people who do a lot, here's somebody who's been a long-time warrior for peace and involved in all kinds of movements, from Stand With Assange and Socialist Action. Let's hear it from Marty Goodman.
Marty, what?
It's a little too tall. Love you, Marty. Thank you. Love you back. Thank you. Got it? Yeah. Just the 5'2" guy. All right. It gets worse every year. All right. All right. Free Julian Assange. Free Julian Assange. Ceasefire in the Middle East. It's all one struggle. And it's Julian Assange who exposed Israel and its insane, barbaric war on Palestine and Gaza. Thank you, Julian Assange. Julian Assange helped the people of Haiti. We had a reporter on Haiti, Kim Ives, who exposed the absolutely corrupt and depraved attempt by the CIA and Bill and Hillary Clinton as well. Check into that, to keep the minimum wage down in Haiti. In Haiti, of all places. And they were making $5 a day, and maybe it's even less than that now. Thanks to Bill Clinton, Hillary, and the CIA, and our imposed dictators in Haiti. But thanks to people like Julian Assange, we're able to mobilize, and the Haitian people get a glimmer of the truth. And of course, the CIA organized 2 military coups in Haiti against the democratically elected Father Bertrand Aristide. And if it wasn't for organizations like Julian Assange's Wikileaks, the world would not know the true role of the CIA and its corrupt apparatus around the world. And now we're being kept blind about what's going on in Gaza by a corrupt media that refuses to tell the truth. It only gets the corporate talking heads to tell us what's going on there. And that's why we need people like Julian Assange and you people out here mobilizing in defense of freedom of the press and free speech, that we owe a lot of gratitude to Julian Assange and our movement that needs to grow in the streets. I'm not into politicians. I don't support the Democrats. I don't care who the hell they are or what they call themselves. The Democrats and the Republicans are one party, the party of big business and capital, conducting a war of extermination in Gaza. And they want to exterminate Julian Assange and destroy his family. Well, we're not going to let them get away with any of that stuff. We are going to stay in the streets We are going to stay mobilized and angry as hell that all the bloodshed in the world is going on because of the guy in the White House and all his backers on Wall Street downtown. It's all the same. It's all the same. Biden, a friend of the working class, he tells us, oh, bullshit. Any of you guys, bullshit. I'm a union guy. The executive board of the TWU, Local 100, the bus and train workers here in New York. And if I had my way, we would shut the damn city down with what's happening with Assange and the criminality in Gaza by U.S. weapons paid by us, the taxpayer, looted from our paychecks every week. I see Chuck's ready to shut me down, okay? So I'm going to let myself go. I want you to stick around a little bit. Listen to some other great speakers. We've had great speakers already. Fantastic. They really ran down the issues. But we say, no more bullshit. Free Julian Assange. Free him now. Thank you.
Free Julian Assange! 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 Free Julian Assange!
Okay, let's hear it again from Marty Goodman. Marty shouldn't be too upset with me for shutting him down because we have another speaker from with Assange, New York, Patricia Dahl.
Hey, Patricia, let me have it.
Hi, everyone. As we go forward from today, I think the most important thing that we can remember is that Julian's prosecution is a political affair, and it has been from the very beginning. Let's remember, in 2010, Republican Senator Mitch McConnell said Julian Assange must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And if that becomes a problem, we need to change the laws. Within days, Obama's Attorney General Eric Holder said the same thing when he admitted in a press conference that the Espionage Act would play a role in the prosecution, along with other statutes he left unspecified. He said, if there are gaps in our laws, we will close those gaps. These are not men who are following the rule of law. They are making it up as they go along. Let's remember also, in 2008, the Pentagon, there was a leak, and we know of it only because of Wikileaks. It was revealed that they had a secret plan to shut Wikileaks down by various means at their disposal. That was before the material was published by Wikileaks on which Julian would be criminalized. This is not a legal matter. It is a political matter. As I was leaving my apartment this morning, I tuned into Consortium News's feed. And happening right now as we gather here, the judge in the UK, Julian's lawyer, Edward Fitzgerald, was arguing that Julian cannot be extradited because of the Extradition Act. Now, we know that he can't be extradited because of the extradition treaty. The U.S. is arguing that the treaty is obsolete. It's been replaced by the UK Extradition Act, which has dropped the political offense provision. And Julian's lawyers were arguing that he is still covered because he stands to be prejudiced for his political views. The judge, this very morning, as we gather here, asked the lawyer, where can I find information on this new point? And Fitzgerald said, it's on the opening pages of the application, the appeal application. It was on the opening pages of the appeal application that Jonathan Swift rejected. It was debated in the magistrate's court and in the very beginning. These are judges who are judging Julian's life, and they don't know their own laws that were passed in Parliament. This is what we are looking at as we go forward. As Margaret said and Randy said, if we do not win this one, it is over. So I personally want to thank everybody here. I know we are all anxious of what is going to happen in the UK. And it would be so easy to stay home in our pajamas, at our computers, and pay attention to what is happening. And I want to thank everybody here for coming down here, bringing your presence, your faces to be recognized by the authorities, your bodies to be counted for Julian. Let's go forward for him. Thank you all very much.
Free Julian Assange! 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 Free Julian Assange!
Okay, let's hear it again for Patricia Dahl. And now here's an extra special speaker that we're happy showed up to say a few words. I certainly am a big fan of her and her shows, and if I remember her name, I'll be in good shape. Katie Halper.
You got starstruck, I'm sure. Speechless, right? No, I'm just kidding. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming out. I just want to say that the other day, people probably know because the media has been talking about this nonstop, Navalny died. And people are praising him as a Russian Nelson Mandela. And I just wanted to share. Now, I don't believe that people who I disagree with should be killed, okay? That's what makes me different from the people who don't support Julian Assange. But I just want to share some words with you. These are not words from Julian Assange. We've done that before. But I'm going to share some words with you from Navalny. This is from a video that he made where he is at a table and he's swatting insects. And it says, hello, today we talk about insect control. No house is safe from cockroach infestation. And it shows a disgusting bug. Ew, or a fly gets in through an open window. Another disgusting bug. We all know the cure against flies, a fly swatter, a slipper against a roach. But what to do if cockroaches are too big and flies too aggressive? And then you hear a gunshot, and he is holding a gun. And you see, in such case, I recommend a handgun, he says. And then you see men who are Muslim. And this is what he wanted to do to Muslims. And this is a hero, according to our government and our media. No one ever mentions this part of him. So I'm bringing this up because obviously our media and our government have an agenda. And that agenda is not a pro-free speech agenda. It's not a pro-freedom of press agenda. And it's not a pro-freedom at all agenda. And Biden said that Putin is responsible for Navalny's death. And if that's true, we're going to remember this if anything happens to Assange. Because if that's true, obviously, Biden is responsible for anything that happens to Assange. And he's already responsible for his being locked up. And he's already responsible for his having a stroke. And he's already responsible for what the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Torture, not a rando, but the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Torture has determined to be torture. So Biden has a lot of blood on his hands. He's a Renaissance man of blood on his hands. He has it over Assange. He has it over Gaza. He has it over Ukraine. I guess he deserves credit. He should run on that platform. If he runs on a bloody hands platform, maybe he can actually win in 2024. So a little free tip for you, Biden. But this is embarrassing. This is a dark day. And again, I'm calling on Biden to not side with Donald Trump. This is a man who ran against Trump, declaring himself a moral alternative, and yet he's siding with Trump on many of the things that he's siding on Trump with. is his treatment of Julian Assange. So long live, or let's start having it live, because it doesn't live right now. I was going to say long live a free press. Let's make a free press. Free Julian Assange, no U.S. extradition, and be on the right side of history so that you can tell your kids and grandkids where you were at this moment. And you don't want to be on the side of death, torture, destruction, and secrecy. Thank you. Free Julian Assange.
Free Julian Assange! 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 Free Julian Assange!
Okay, let's hear it again for Katie Halper. That's fantastic. And next up, we're going to have a presentation for the Raging Grannies, and here's Michelle Aaron.
This song, the lyrics were... Oh, they made it! Woohoo! Alice, would you like to explain?
We're the Raging Grannies, and we're full of rage because of what's happening to Julian, what's happening in Palestine, and what's happening to any semblance of free press. And we're lucky to have some beautiful singers, so I'll let you get on the mic. And this is our old song called Free Julian Assange. Sing along if you can. Does anyone need a song sheet? Ready? Okay, we're ready. You can take the mic. Give us a note. Give us a note. Anyone need a song sheet?
Okay. Our country isn't free. Where's our humanity? We protest now. Julian Assange was right, brought secret files to light. He's locked up and tortured day and night. Why is this allowed? Our
Julian is so bold, thinks that truth should be told. Is this a crime? Why not let Julian show where our tax dollars go? When paid for war crimes, we should know. Why is he serving time?
Editor, publisher, Wikileaks founder, imprisoned and sick. U.S. don't extradite. Time now to do what's right. For press freedom now we all must fight. Free Julian, make it quick.
Free Julian Assange! 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 Free Julian Assange!
Okay, let's hear it again for the Raging Grannies. And I'd also like to acknowledge another WBAI programmer who's been here today. Isn't going to speak, but let's hear for him, Michael Stephen Smith. And I also want to thank everybody here for coming today. This is a great turnout considering the short notice and how important it is for us to be here in New York City in support of Julian Assange. And if you haven't yet, and you're not on the mailing list, to go to your right at the table, please sign and give your information so you can hear about what we're doing next and get a turnout like this. And for those of you who are worried that this might go on too long, I'm here to tell you it's not, because that's it, people. Thank you so much for being here. Free Julian Assange.
Free Julian Assange. Hey, how do we free Julian Assange? How do we do it? Free Julian Assange. Free Julian Assange. Free Julian Assange. Free Julian Assange. Free
I'd like to get the speakers to come up so we can have a picture of all the speakers together.
Free Julian Assange.
Hey there, everybody.
Oh, Margaret, I didn't recognize you. Your hair looks so good.
9 years of the same hairstyle. It's time for the picture.
It's already over. Marilyn.
Okay, so I believe that's it for the speakers. I will hang around here and get some interviews. So stick around. Make sure you're smashing the like button. Make sure you're sharing this stream. And also subscribe. Subscribe to this channel so you see when we go live, when we post videos.
I'll give you my number because next time we miss
Alice, shall we all go out together for a bite? I can't wait. I have to run to my friend and
Sure, let me face this way because you got the sun behind you. Sure. Yep, right there is good. So, tell me what you believe will happen if Assange is extradited to the U.S. to face trial.
I think we have to think that it's already happened right now, because Julian has been imprisoned, tortured, persecuted. Journalists around the world are already self-censoring, not doing their jobs, or so-called journalists. I mean, you have to have maybe a little respect for them being afraid, because this can happen to them. So if we go further and turn him over to the hands of a government that plotted to kill him, that has spied on him secretly and his lawyers, the intimidation is just that much greater. This is about the right to speak truth to power. This is about the right to have the truth that we need to speak truth to power. Julian spoke about truth. He said if lies can start wars, then truth can start peace. We have to think about all of the things that the public is not supposed to know, is not supposed to get information about. And Julian was providing information. We should have a free press providing that information, but mostly we've got a corporately owned media, and it's not providing that information. So what are the things that we're not getting information about? Number one is war and military spending, but there's also all these questions about surveillance. When they really got angry with Julian, it was about the release of Vault 7. It was about the fact that your television set could spy on you, or that someone could take over control of your car. They didn't want that information out. They don't want information out about what's going on in Palestine. They don't want information out about what happened with the big pharma and COVID and the bioweapons, the integration of the bioweapons manufacturers with big pharma. And that's a story that relates to what's going on in the Ukraine. Remember, Victoria Nuland was saying, "Oh my God, the Russians may wind up getting our bioweapons manufacturing facilities that we put there." So we need a free press. We've got just a kernel of a free press. That's one reason I'm on the local station board of WBAI. I'm currently chair. It's one reason that I'm a co-founder of Citizens Defending Libraries. We need to defeat the information control that is getting so intense.
Absolutely. One question I have here. All we hear about is the 2024 election is about U.S. democracy at stake. In light of this prosecution of Assange, do you think we actually have a democracy?
I think that we have a duopoly that's a monoparty, and the Democrats are very creatively inept to do what they say it's only the Republicans wanting, but we work together. We work together to persecute Assange. The two parties work together to make sure that we have continual war. Only 11 years out of our country's history, we haven't been at war somewhere. The two parties work together to make sure that the globalist power elite stay in power, and that we don't get things like student debt relief, etc. And we fight hard to preserve that duopoly. We don't want any third parties. It's one reason that Kennedy is such a threat now that he's got about a third of the positive approval ratings of the likely voting electorate. If they can keep it between the two parties, we will continue not to have a democracy.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. You want to give your name and what organization you're with? Yeah, I'm Michael White, and I make a point that I'm Michael D. White because there are so many other Michael Whites. Actually, I collect them. So I know when the economy is going bad because I get all these credit calls from the credit companies. And I'm on the local station board of WBAI. I'm a co-founder of Citizens Defending Libraries. I write National Notice and Noticing New York. And I've been out there fighting a lot of fights and trying to and doing what I can to speak truth to power. And as I said, this is about having the right to speak truth to power. They want to take it away from us, and they have been taking it away from us. Absolutely. Thank you, Michael, for your work. I appreciate it. My name's John. Thank you very much. Great.
Excuse me. Hey, yeah, sorry, I couldn't jump in and grab that. Yeah. You're welcome.
Union Square.
Hey, I'm right here.
In the green bag.
All right, so start off with, so if Assange is extradited to the U.S. to face trial, what do you believe will happen to him?
From what I know, if he's extradited to come to the United States, he will not get a fair trial. And it's heartbreaking for me to say that as an American citizen. But from everything I hear, it's impossible. And he will not be able to launch adequate defense in that courtroom.
Absolutely. Do you think we have come kind of full circle here? The U.S. wants to punish Assange for exposing the war crimes in Afghanistan and Iraq, and all while the U.S. is funding the war crimes of Israel and the genocide in Palestine.
Yeah. So the U.S. war machine, which has caused such devastation in Iraq and Libya and Afghanistan, and now in Gaza, is trying to kill the messenger, is trying to attack the truth teller, because the American government doesn't want the people to know what it does and how it acts in our names.
Absolutely. Do you believe we have a real democracy in this country?
I campaigned for Bernie Sanders in 2016 and 2020, and that was an eye-opener for me. So, sadly to say, our democracy, if it still exists, is on life support.
Thank you very much. Do you like to give your name if you're part of any organization? I just want to say thank you.
My name's Irene Ippolito.
Thank you, Irene. Hey guys, this country is in trouble. We're in trouble. You guys better keep an eye on this. I believe Jordan sent me the link to watch the hearing. Let me see if I can pull it up here. So if you go on Twitter, type in Free Assange News. So that's on Twitter at Free Assange News. They'll have a whole thread of the hearing and all the details if you want to follow. Again, we are outside the UK consulate in New York City on 2nd Avenue and East 47th Street.
Next big rally is going to be a worldwide one.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Let's see if we can get one or two more interviews before people start to take off.
Excuse me.
Liquid for commissary PA.
Yeah.
I used to go there shopping for but it came.
Excuse me. Hey, do you have time for an interview?
Sure.
Yeah?
Who are you?
My name is John. I'm with Status Coup.
Okay.
I just want to get your sign here. Hold on, my shadow. All right. So let's talk about the war crimes. Do you think we have kind of come full circle here with the U.S. wanting to punish Assange for exposing their war crimes in Afghanistan and Iraq, all while the U.S. is funding and supporting Israel's war crimes and the genocide in Palestine?
Obviously, Israel is supporting Israel's genocide, and obviously, U.S. is supporting all the crimes everywhere, and U.S. Can we start all over?
But no, go ahead. We're live. Yeah, so it's all right. Yeah, we're live.
Oh well.
Take your time. No worries.
U.S. wants to. U.S. is supporting Israel's crime, and U.S. is determined to kill Assange, so no one knows the crimes of the U.S. And also, U.S. wants to teach everyone a lesson. I am old Assange supporter, and actually, for many years, it was an old science. I hope I have to retire. I can retire it today.
I hope so.
I really hope so.
Yeah. And we're seeing Israel's committing war crimes. They're intentionally targeting journalists.
Yes,
to prevent them from exposing what they're doing. Their war crimes in Gaza. Yeah,
more journalists killed during this period than in World War II.
Yeah.
So obviously, what's going on now is this is unprecedented, and we cannot tolerate this.
Right.
No matter who you are, how poor you are, how rich you are, where you work, we have to stop this. And it's everyone's duty to come out and speak and put its input.
Absolutely. What do you believe will happen to Assange if he is extradited and comes to the U.S. to face a trial?
Actually, I hope that I hope he doesn't come to U.S. I think it ends tomorrow. But if he does, I hope we just become more active here in the U.S. and we can fight better our own government instead of, it's kind of far, people don't know, many don't care. But if he comes, we will fight. We will not let Assange die. For years I did it, and I will continue.
And I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the corporate media and how they've been ignoring all of this with Assange and ignoring the war crimes from Israel and the United States? What are your thoughts on the corporate media?
I think my opinion on that is like everyone else's who is decent. Just you have to be decent, you have to be honest. And there's you can't listen to corporate media, it's disgusting. I don't even I don't even listen.
Right.
But only independent.
Thank you very much. We're independent.
Yes, I know.
We will
I know
stay
you.
independent.
You came to actually you came to Julian Assange's birthday that I organized like 5 years ago.
We're gonna roll it.
Excuse us.
Okay. Sorry, watch your back.
Okay.
I got very good talking to you. Thank you very much.
So you're okay doing that?
Take care.
All right, forget about it. Yeah.
What are you doing? You're going to walk. All right. So just tell me what you believe will happen to Assange if he is extradited and comes here to face trial. What's that?
What do I think is going to happen?
Yeah. What do you think will happen to Assange?
What I'd like to happen is they get their asses together and Biden just does the right thing and ends this immediately. Like he should be ending Gaza.
Right. And, Assange exposed their war, the U.S. war crimes in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Right.
And now, now the U.S. is supporting Israel's war crimes, by funding and supporting their genocide.
Yes.
So you think it's like full circle?
Yeah, it's a horror show.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What we hear from the politicians is about the 2024 election is about U.S. democracy at stake.
Democracy,
yeah. Tell me what you think. Do you think we actually have a democracy?
Bullshit. Total bullshit. And we're supporting Israel. They say they have a democracy. And all these people are dead and wounded and children with their eyes missing.
Yeah, it's
terrible. We're going to veto again. It's a horror show.
Yep. Well, thank you very much.
Nice talking to you.
For speaking to me.
Who you with?
Status Coup. We're an independent channel on YouTube.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. I like your pins. Let me just get your pins there. Nice.
Another one.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jerry Hassett.
Jerry, I'm John. Nice to meet you. How you doing?
We're right
I
to a Jewish.
I have about 50.
You know what? He's just a murderer. Don't believe this shit.
How am I a murderer? Have I killed anybody?
You are with your mouth. It's like the Times and the BBC and all the propaganda. You're bought by a Zionist who happens to be a right-wing murderer. And that's what you support.
Really?
You support genocide?
No, I support half of my family who lives in Israel. There is no state of Palestine because it's never been recognized because it used to be part of Egypt or Jordan who've washed their hands of them. They don't even want them. They're building up a big fucking wall. No, you know who wants them to die? The Egyptians do. And the Jordanians and the Qataris.
I was watching a World War II movie the other day.
They don't want them.
I was watching a World War II movie, and it was interesting because Palestine came into the picture, and they were talking about Palestine. They were talking about Palestine as our ally.
75 years ago, Christians, Jews, and Muslims and Arabs lived peacefully until the Zionists came. Read your history and talk to Norman.
So, and when the Zionists came, what did the Arabs do? Because we, the British, we had to hang them in the fucking street because they kept killing our soldiers.
Really not
yes, I'm loyal to the United States of America. Not one U.S. flag here. You're all traitors to America. All of you are traitors to America. Not one of you has the Stars and Stripes flag. Where is the Star-Spangled Banner here? None of you have it. You don't love this country that lets you protest in the middle of the street.
This is called the First Amendment. This is called the First Amendment, the freedom of speech.
You exercise your First Amendment right. Hold the Stars and Stripes above your head and be proud.
We find these truths self-evident. All men are created equal.
So hold the flag. You love your flag. Hold the
First Amendment.
Where's the flag?
The United States of America is inalienable rights. The Declaration
I know.
of Independence.
I swore an oath of allegiance to America when I came here.
You could do a dance and say, look, the Declaration of Independence is the United States.
Why are you
of America.
choosing to demonstrate here, by the way?
Understand that and get it.
Zeros,
Go take another
retail
class. Go
space.
take another class and understand where you are. This is the United States of America. We find these truths self-evident. The Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
The Constitution is a protection of rights.
Right.
These are people are simply exercising freedom of speech and a right to assemble.
Okay.
That's the First Amendment.
Close?
A friendly tap.
Yeah, watch out with those friendly taps. Hello.
How do you approve of genocide? I read it and I cry.
Why don't you go back to Israel?
Wait here, wait here.
I have to stand up and I have to yell in order to actually be part of this person. I like the American empire. It was never come forward. But all the truth is never. And any kind of censorship it's all done.
That guy was out of line. If they release, if Hamas releases the hostages, I said, what about innocent people of Palestinians?
Thank you very much.
That's how it started. And then I went back and I was listening to him about he was poisoning someone else, and I was like, do you believe in genocide? He goes, I'm patriotic. I like, do you believe in genocide? I was going to go into, you believe in shooting pregnant women? I mean, that's stupid to believe in genocide? I mean, he's conditioned. I get it. I get it. I get it. BBC, UK, he's UK, he's Israel. I said, you know what? There's Israelis that do not believe in Zionism and not, and you know, all of that.
The guy probably has dual citizenship.
Oh,
How are you?
Yeah. You have time for a quick
Sure.
Cool. All right, let me just get set up here, right there. You know, all we hear from the politicians, from the Democrats is, you know, the 2024 election is about the U.S. democracy at stake, the threat to democracy if Republicans take over. In light of this prosecution of Assange, do you think we actually have a democracy?
Ask Native people, ask Leonard Peltier, ask Julian Assange, ask Mamiya, ask political prisoners if we ever had a democracy in the first place, or we ever even wanted to achieve a democracy.
Right.
They can give you the answer.
Right, yeah.
They're the best ones to ask. And the people that spoke today.
Right. And, you know, do you think we have kind of come full circle here? The U.S. wants to punish Assange for exposing...
Well, they want to, you know, make sure no one says anything about war crimes, especially all war crimes, from Israel to all the other client states of Israel in America, which is basically the same thing right now. From Mossad, the CIA, Israel, America, they're the same thing right now.
And that's why we're seeing Israel intentionally targeting journalists in Gaza to stop them.
And intentionally targeting doctors and civilians that are trying to save people in the hospitals that they're bombing. Imagine if somebody bombed the hospitals here and said, well, I'm doing it for a cause. I'm like, what cause?
Right.
How is blowing up a hospital any type of cause you could be for? Because that's what they're doing.
It's
basically, they said there are no functioning hospitals in Gaza right now or in Palestine. Imagine in New York there were no functioning hospitals because they were all bombed by somebody. All these Zionists would go crazy that live in New York. They jump out the window.
Yep.
I mean, how is killing civilian medical people, whatever system you believe in? I'm a holistic, but people that are holistic, don't take drugs. That's when you're holistic. But if you're trying to help heal people and you're not trying to kill them, why would you want to bomb the place where they try and heal them?
Yep.
You have to be psychotic.
And you really have to be psychotic to actually believe what Israel and the U.S. are saying about it.
Oh, yeah, it's insane.
Their reasoning.
Imagine if all these people in New York and they said all the hospitals are closed. Why? Because we say so. I mean, it's disgusting.
It's criminal.
Goodbye. And the joke is the UN is like, oh, they committed war crimes. Well, they know that, but they don't seem to care about war crimes.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like a joke. It's like telling people, don't rape somebody, and they go rape somebody, and they go, well, I raped somebody, who cares? Why are they saying now they should have done that before they did the bombing? The first person they killed, they should have been, that's a war crime. Not after 24,000, the way it's going, they're going to kill everybody in Palestine. Imagine if America, you looked up and every building was bombed, and you would say, well, we had to, it's self-defense.
Yeah,
no one would put up with that.
I've always said Americans are way too comfortable. They don't understand anything that happens outside
No, they
of
don't.
this country.
No, it's the educational system.
Right.
It is the worst in the world. They believe the government's schools. And the parents could send them to the government schools and make them like this. And not that I want to have a kid, but if I have a kid, they'd be homeschooled. Like moved in, and other people that are insane and don't want their kids destroyed. By the time someone's 18, they're already drinking the Kool-Aid. It's pretty much over by that. You have to fight or you're going to become what you hate.
Well, I think that it's like...
Thank you very much.
Obviously, my mother was, an anarchist, but I told her what you're doing is not a good idea because she was from World War II, a right-wing nutcase. But I told her, Ma, there's somebody whose husband's been through the war, came back with all his limbs. You should be grateful and not want war. What can you do? That's the way she was raised, and she raised people to be like that in our family. But I didn't turn out like that, luckily.
Oh, yeah,
I was like, Ma, do you really realize what you believe in? And she just didn't pay attention. So I'm like, well, I'm paying attention. So somebody in the family has to pay attention.
And the people that do pay attention are usually, they're like pushed out. Like,
oh, yeah, we're like the black sheep of the family normally.
Can I get some of your pins?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, the ICJ did not call for...
You want to get my flag?
No? Did you listen to that?
What's this one here?
Well, that's about the death shot.
The vaccine, anti-war, question authority. Let's go with Malcolm X. 9/11 was inside job. All you need is love. Nice. What's your name?
Rich.
Rich?
Yeah.
I'm John.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Don't vote for politicians.
Yeah, no. No, I don't. Take care. Oh, yeah. That's a status. Cool.
Wait, that is for you. I've seen you. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see you filming yet, but like, I've seen your shit on YouTube.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, we're on YouTube. Oh, sure. Yeah. Thank you very much. Absolutely, yeah. All right, take care, everyone. Is everybody going to be here tomorrow too? Okay.
Yeah, I think.
No, okay. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care. See you, Chuck. Take care. Status Coup.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, I just want to... The sun's back there.
Sure.
All right, so just introduce yourself. I know you're there.
Okay.
And then tell me what you think will happen to Assange if he is extradited and comes here to face trial.
Okay. Well, all right. So I'm Diane Sayre. I'm a LaRouche independent candidate for U.S. Senate running against Kirsten Gillibrand in New York. I had the distinction of being the only person in 2022 to get 45,000 plus signatures to get on the ballot. I'm very well aware of the issue of freedom of speech and suppression of minority voices. And Assange is not a minority. He acted because he thought that people were good enough if they knew the truth of the crimes being committed, they would act to change the policy. And I think we've actually failed him because we have not stopped the criminal policies of our government.
Absolutely. And do you think we've kind of come full circle here where, the U.S. wants to punish Assange for exposing their war crimes in Iraq and Afghanistan, all while the U.S. is funding war crimes and genocide in Gaza?
Yeah, sure. And now what's different, which I'm very happy about, is the number of young people in the streets. I think this is very good. My concern, I'll tell you my biggest fear, the system of empire is collapsing. It's really done. It's on its last legs. That's why they're desperate. That's they want to, to kill Assange, to remove. They want to terrorize everyone who speaks the truth into silence because they are weak. It's not going to work. So the question for us is, when the system breaks, can we organize a whole new system? Not just a little piece, not just we stop the genocide, but we actually create a system where every single nation has the right to economic development and sovereignty. The idea that there's a single starving child on the planet is an outrage.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. And
welcome. Thank you. Right? Thank you. Thanks.
All right, guys, so that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe to this channel. We are live almost every other day, covering protests, other stories around strikes. So we're on the ground. Not many outlets do what we do. Not many outlets are on the ground covering stories, covering protests. So it is really important that you support independent media. Support us here at Status Coup. There was no corporate media here. No mainstream outlet was here covering this protest. No mainstream media is out at the protest for Gaza, for Palestine. They don't want to show you the thousands of people that come out in support of Palestinians. They don't want to show you the aggression, the violence from the NYPD, from the police. They don't want to show you how the police are surveilling protesters and assaulting them. So enough with the corporate media, enough with the mainstream media. They're not going to show you these stories. They're not going to tell you what is actually happening in this country and around the world. They're going to give you what they're told to give you. What serves the corporate agenda. So if you can, support us, become a member, statuscoup.com/join. That's how we are able to continue our work here at Status Coup. All right, guys, I'm signing off here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Trying to think, not sure when we'll be live again, but make sure you subscribe and look out for that.